Russ, if you can go ahead and go live. Thank you very much, Russ. All right, I'm going to call the meeting for the Zoning Board of Adjustment to order tonight. It is May 13th, 7:01 p.m. First item would be to do a roll call. So myself, Richard Riley, I'm present. Laura Gandia.
Present.
John Devereaux.
Present.
Mark Filardo.
Present.
And Kyle Durso.
Present.
All right, so we have 5 zoning board members. Michelle Flynn, you're also on the line. Michelle will be taking the minutes for the zoning board. And first item we have on the agenda this evening is an application from Diane Forsythe, and I believe it's Sanborn Ward.
Yes.
This is application 2020-02. The address is 2 Nathan Drive in Litchfield. That is map 10, lot 136. The applicants are seeking a variance to allow for construction of a garage which would encroach into the side setback of Pinecrest Road. I believe all the members of the zoning board have copies of the application. The way we usually do this for Diane and Sanborn is we're going to ask you to essentially go through the criteria that you've already addressed the 5 criteria in your application. What we need you to do is to just present that criteria here on the call with us today so that the full board gets a chance to hear from you. Expand any areas you feel you want to expand on. We're just going to sit back and listen while you do that. If anybody has a question during their presentation, you certainly can ask that, but if possible, hold off until they've done addressing all of the criteria in the application, and then I'll certainly open it up to the board for questions at that point. And then what we'll do from there is we'll move into the public input phase. I do have a couple of letters from abutters that I will introduce during the public input phase, and we'll continue from there until we're ready to close public input and move on to deliberations. So unless there's any questions from the board or the applicant, I'll go ahead and move forward and ask the applicant. Do I have any questions from anybody first? All right, hearing none. So Diane and Sanborn, again, we need you to go through the criteria for your request for variance. Explain the project that you worked on. Give us a little bit of background, how we got to where we are, and what you're looking for.
Okay, so all right. So we're looking to build a garage on our property. It's on the side of Nathan Drive. We have a long, skinny lot, single-story ranch home with the garage just coming off the side of the house. So construction of the garage is going to encroach on the side of the setback on Pinecrest Road. The garage structure is 30 feet wide by 24 feet deep. We are looking for a 16.2-foot variance on the Pinecrest Road side. I'm just going to keep reading this, correct?
Yes, please.
All right, the variance
Section 2.
So section 2. The variance will not be contrary to public interest because similar homes also have garages and will not alter the character of the neighborhood. There is no harm to public health, welfare, safety, as there are mature trees on Pinecrest Road side of property buffer, except for the car that hit the tree in the post a few weeks ago.
How long ago?
When was it? It was probably about a month ago. He hit the telephone pole on Pinecrest.
Took out the pole.
Took out a few trees, small ones. The spirit of the ordinance is observed because the structure will result in no change to existing conditions of ground and no increase on septic load. Granting this variance is not contrary to the spirit of the ordinance. Substantial justice is done because any loss to an individual which is not outweighed by a gain to the general public is an injustice. Denial of this variance will result in no gain to the general public as the density of development will remain unchanged. The granting of a variance will have no negative effect on the neighborhood. And hopefully will enhance it a little. The values of surrounding properties are not diminished because surrounding property values would only increase if anything. The structure will increase our value and not become an eyesore to others. So this is number 5 here. So it just asks the literal enforcement of provisions of the ordinance. So this is a corner lot with frontages on Nathan Drive and Pinecrest Drive. On the Nathan Drive abutter side, there is a septic system. So that's why we can't put our garage on the other side of the house, because that's where our septic is, which would have made our setbacks much better, but we can't put it there. And then the back of our lot is like a steep hill up, so we really, it's just doesn't work to go back that way either. So hence we're looking for a variance to put it off the side of our house. I think that's all. Do I keep going? Is there more?
Unless you have anything additional, I think that covers what you submitted in the application. I know there were some additional drawings that you submitted as well. I don't know if you want to reference any specific information on those drawings. One question I had was the septic. Is that, when you say it's on the abutter side, is that the side where your existing shed is right now?
Correct, but the shed's in the, so our septic is out front.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, the septic is basically the front lawn, but there's the holding tank is on the left side.
Okay, so it's all on that side of the house.
Yeah.
And is that driveway existing?
Yes.
All right, so did you have anything else you wanted to add before I open it up to the rest of the board members to ask some questions?
I think that was it.
No, I don't think so.
All right, how about the board? Anybody on the board have questions?
Nope. Seems pretty cut and dry.
Is there any improvements to the driveway that from the existing driveway to put this garage in?
I guess well, so part of the driveway will actually be probably taken out to put the existing structure in. And then it'll just be what's still there.
So you're not going to widen the driveway for the garage?
No.
No. It's already wide up at the end. So it goes from like a kind of like a single car when you turn into the driveway, and then it widens out to a 2-car. Okay.
And are there any significant tree removal being done for the garage?
Yes, there'll be 1 tree removed.
One?
It's like literally right on the side of the driveway where the garage will be.
Yeah, that's not significant. That's all I have.
Oh, okay.
Now, is this a 2-car garage?
Yes.
We have some additional drawings here. I believe it's showing the garage as 24 by 30.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, I think.
Garage doors just look like, what, 9-foot wide doors?
Correct. I think, what did he write on here? 9 by 8, 2 9 by 8 garage doors.
I'm not sure if anybody else knows, but I believe that's pretty typical for a 2-car garage. It doesn't sound like it's huge or
The dimensions seem typical.
The dimensions seem typical.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Did we receive any information for the abutters?
We did. I was going to introduce that as soon as I open it up to public input. So if the board's ready, I'll go ahead and open it up to public input. Now, for public input, I don't know if we have anybody who's dialed in, but for the benefit of Diane and Sanborn, I'll just explain. During the public input phase, if anybody has joined us and wants to ask questions, this is when they would do so. So looking at the list, I don't see any other names on here than us and Russ, who's managing the television broadcast of this. Just to be sure.
Yeah, so Rick, there is no other participants but the folks in the list.
Excellent. All right, so before I close public input, I have 2 letters that I want to read into the record. I have one from Chris and Sandra Hand at 1 Nathan Drive in Litchfield. This is dated May 8th. Says, to whom it may concern, we are writing this letter in favor of the variance needed for the proposed garage at 2 Nathan Drive, Litchfield, New Hampshire, map 10, lot 136. As the brothers living in the house adjacent to Nathan Drive, we believe this addition will only boost our neighborhood's curb appeal. This addition has our full support. Sincerely, Chris and Sandra Hand. And then I have a second letter here as well. This is from my name. So this is from Mickey Fraser. Hello, my name is Mickey Fraser at 4 Nathan Drive, and our neighbor at 2 Nathan Drive would like to have an attached garage built on their property, and I do not have any issues with this project. They have really, basically, they're excited about it, and he supports it. So, so we have 2 letters of support. And that's all I have on the public side of this. So, unless there's any further questions from the board, it sounds like from the quietness, there's nothing. And unless there's any further input from the applicants, which it sounds like maybe nothing there. What we would normally do now, Diane and Sanborn, is we would close public input. This is when the board now would deliberate. Once I close public input, I can't reopen it. So we just want to make sure we've gotten everything out, any questions answered. And then the board deliberates after we're done deliberating. By deliberating, what I mean is we really want to go through each of the criteria, ask amongst ourselves whether we think you've met the threshold for that specific criteria for granting it. And then after we've kind of reviewed each of those 5 criteria, I usually ask for a motion, and that motion would come from any member of the board, and it could be either in favor of or opposed to. And then we would deliberate on the motion, vote on the motion, and we go from there. So again, if everybody's all set, I will entertain a motion to close public input.
I'll second that.
I need a motion. I didn't make it.
I'll make a motion to close public input.
All right, I have a motion from Laura to close public input, and that's seconded again by Mark.
Yep, I'll second that.
Seconded by Mark. All those in favor say aye.
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 All right, so we have public input closed. Let me start with criteria number 1. And again, I'm not going to go around the table. I'm just going to ask you to got an opinion as to why you think they've either met or not met it. Please speak up, and if you hear somebody speaking up, I'll ask the others to just refrain. I think it's the quickest way to get through this is probably just, speak up. So again, on the first criteria, does anybody have a disagreement or agreement in the response that the applicant has submitted here? How do we feel about it?
Rick, can I speak?
Please.
This is Laura Gandia. My only concern, and it's not a major concern, but I do feel like I need to put it out there, is the safety aspect. Pinecrest is known for having cars travel really fast, and there have been several accidents on that road. Some as of very recently, where there was a significant accident and the telephone pole was taken out. So that side setback or the front setback on Pinecrest Road is there for safety purposes as well. So I'm just putting that out there for food for thought.
Yeah. So there is an existing drive already there now, and the drive actually does extend a little bit beyond where the new structure is. So the new structure will kind of sit on top of the last bit of driveway, but my gut tells me that any vehicles are going to be sitting pretty much, if anything, a little further back from the road than they were before. You know, are you looking at the drawing?
I have seen it. Yes, I'm not looking at it now. I haven't looked at it.
I see what you're saying, though. I guess I should have asked where those trees were, but I know they said they were right on the front of the driveway. So on
And
that front,
So that property has trees all along the side of Pinecrest. There's some definitely tree buffer on the Pinecrest side.
oh, so that's where we're encroaching, is out on the side. Yeah,
Right, that's my concern, that it's that the Pinecrest side
yeah.
typically has.
What's interesting is if you look at the driveway, the structure is actually going to be a little further away from the right of way for Pinecrest than the existing driveway is. It looks like it. I don't know, maybe just a couple feet.
Yeah. Oh.
No, I've closed public input. I'm sorry. Laura, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm not supposed to take any other input, right?
No.
I didn't think so.
Laura, is your concern like a vehicle traveling down Pinecrest, hitting the garage now that it's within the setback?
Yeah, I mean, my concern is the setback. The spirit of having that setback is to protect the health and safety. And part of the safety concern would be the traveling public. I'm not saying that's, going to sway anybody's opinion. I'm just putting out there for food for thought. Anytime you give a variance, you are compromising those things as they exist.
Right.
So it's something for folks to think about. That
Right.
Pinecrest, people do travel fast on that road, and there have been several accidents.
Yeah, understood.
I know that one time we had a similar request for a garage attachment. I don't recall exactly which road it was, but I do recall that some of the existing vegetation, especially mature trees, certainly factored into my sense that, I mean, you've got structure, you've got trees, you've got something that the cars are already going to hit anyways before they get to the garage.
Right, and you could always make the granting of any variance conditioned on vegetation being planted there as
Yeah.
well.
Or
So the homeowners talked about having taken one tree down. If I took a look at like the satellite view, and it looks like there's plenty of trees along the street, what I think you're going to end up doing is increasing the possibility of folks at that location at 2 Nathan to be walking around the other side of the garage, which will make them closer to the street, but they would theoretically still be in the trees. So you would have protection from the trees. I think that's the way I look at it.
and that is John Devereaux speaking, correct?
That's correct.
We don't have your video, so we can't see your lips moving.
Oh, huh? I'm under the radar.
Nice.
What would have been interesting is if we received feedback from 2 McQuestion Circle. That's the only abutter that I think would be close enough to have an issue with a building being closer to the street or closer in view to their property, and we didn't receive any feedback from them. So, I think that's not a negative, I guess, in this particular case.
Oh, I see where, so basically across the street on Pinecrest you're talking about. All right. So I can see how that was something that you would want to mention here during the spirit. I'm sorry, public interest portion here. I think for me, with particularly with the mature trees, and what were we talking about? 16.2, and this is a 50-foot setback, isn't it? Because it's
It is.
yeah, so it's a 50-foot setback now.
That gives you almost like over 30 feet from the street, which I guess isn't that bad overall.
It isn't, but, you know, for any other road, I agree with Pinecrest. I do share Laura's additional concern there, being Pinecrest. I get that.
And I'd just like to add too, if you look at the survey plan that they submitted, when you look at where the property is located, you do have a lot of other streets coming in and out of Pinecrest in that area. And I can't read them all, but you have Nathan Drive on one side, and then across on the other side of Pinecrest, you have two other roads that will enter and exit onto Pinecrest. So you got Nathan
Yeah.
Drive basically in the middle, then you have two other streets on the other
Yeah.
side of Pinecrest that have traffic coming in and out.
Yeah, I mean, obviously this project wouldn't necessarily increase traffic. They'd still be exiting the property on the Nathan Drive, not Pinecrest. So it doesn't change the traffic pattern, and again, with vegetation being close to the road, I don't see this as posing obscuring any view for anybody traveling on either Nathan or Pinecrest with the vegetation that's there.
Right, my concern wasn't an increase of traffic, it's just the existing traffic that you have entering and exiting all in that area.
Yeah, it's busy, I know. Well, I don't know. I mean, if I'm going to vote on it, I'd say I'm still okay with number one. Anybody else?
I'm okay with number one.
Yeah, I'm also okay with number one, given that the existing vegetated trees remain and that they're not removed in the future.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the future's a long time. We'll worry about that too. I know what you mean.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm just making a note. All right. Let's move on to number two. Spirit in the ordinance is observed because it's really the same argument. I think the same considerations, unless there's something else that somebody wants to address here. What they're saying is it results in no change to existing conditions of ground and no increase on septic load for a garage. Granting variance is not contrary to the spirit of the ordinance. I mean, it is, again, for the reasons that we've just discussed. There is some conflict there. The question is, does it rise to the level that would want us to, say we can't approve the request? I'm still inclined to go, for the same reasons, okay on number two. Anybody else?
I'm okay with number two.
Mark? Oh, that was Mark. Kyle?
Yep.
Yep, yeah, I agree. I'm okay with number two.
All right. Substantial justice is done. The applicant is, any loss to the individual is not outweighed by the gain. Essentially what they're saying is, the benefits to them is not outweighed by an injustice to the public. Denial of variance will result in no gain to the density and remain undamaged. Granting variance will negative effect on the neighborhood. I mean, there's no garage there today. I think allowing someone to have a garage, where if we can, it certainly is a benefit and would provide justice to the applicant. Again, I'm inclined to go ahead with this one. I don't know about
Yeah, I'm
the
okay
rest
with
of you.
Yeah, me as well.
Values of surrounding properties are not diminished. I don't know if anybody's got a problem with that. I think we've dealt with this type of projects long enough times to know that typically, unless someone's doing something that is really uncharacteristic with the neighborhood or out of character with the neighborhood, typically these type of projects would increase their own value and thus have a positive impact on surrounding properties. So I'm okay with that one.
I agree.
So last and not least, and this one tends to be one of the trickier ones, what is unique about the property that would preclude them from wanting to put this or being able to put this anywhere else? Certainly speaking for myself, typical things that we see, you've got an existing driveway, they're trying to leverage that. You've got a septic system on the other side of the house that precludes them from putting a new driveway / garage on that side, which, you know, I guess based on the way the house sits on the lot would give them proper distance from Nathan Drive as well as the other side lot, the opposite side lot line. But again, you've got the septic to deal with. You got a pool in the backyard. You've got some existing vegetation, but where they're placing it, it's going to have, the project would have minimal impact with only one tree needing to be removed. I think they've taken into account the uniqueness of the lot by putting it where they put it. The fact that none exists today, I mean, it leads me to believe there really is no alternative other than to say you can't have one. Again, I'm inclined, for the reasons that the applicant has stated, plus some of what we've talked about, to approve number 5 and thereby, you know, granting the applicant's request. That's kind of how I feel about it anyways.
Yeah, I'm good with 5 too. I agree.
I do as well. I think it's good to go.
How about you, Laura?
No, I'm good to go.
All right, well then, I think unless anybody has anything else to add, I'll certainly entertain a motion, either for approval or denial.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion.
Okay, let me hear it.
I'd like to make a motion in case number 2020-2 to grant the applicant's request for a variance from section 310 to encroach 16.2 feet into the 50-foot front setback on Pinecrest Road for the purposes of constructing a garage.
Is that a front setback or side setback? I don't want to.
A front,
That's a front?
yes.
I'll second
I'll second.
Laura's motion.
Oh, you got 2 seconds.
All right, we have a motion to approve and we have a seconded. Any further discussion?
Mr. Chair, we do need to do a roll call vote for the final decision.
Because of the remoteness?
Yes,
So I'll just go around and announce the names?
correct.
All right then, I'm going to start the roll call. Rick Riley, I vote yes, approved. Laura Gandia,
Yes.
John Devereaux,
Yes.
Mark Filardo,
Yes.
Kyle Drusso.
Yes.
All right, so we have a unanimous approval, all 5 votes in favor, 0 opposed. So at this point, Diane and Sanborn, your application for the variance has been approved by the zoning board. Before you can move forward with the project, you've got a 30-day wait period. During that period, somebody may choose to appeal our decision. After that 30 days, unless you have any other issues, you're allowed to move forward. What I'll do is we will put together a letter that outlines our decision. A copy of that will go to you. Another copy will go to the building department, so that and then another copy will actually go in the file as well, which is kept in the building department file cabinets. So once, give me a few days to put that together. But once the building department has that, you can certainly reach out to them, let them know that you've gotten your approval and so forth, and then you guys can start whatever you do to move forward with your project.
Okay,
All right.
thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Welcome.
All right, so guys, I think that concludes any business we have. I don't know if you heard me before we opened the meeting, but I am working on a couple of, at least 1, maybe 2 applications for June. I just got to get down, pick up the paperwork, make sure everything's in order. But if you can, or at this point, I'll just say, keep an eye out for some email from me, letting you know if I've got an application, at which point I'll ask you whether you're going to be available for June. But I know it's looking like we're going to have at least 1 for June.
Okay.
I guess we're good to.
Yeah.
All right, so that's it for now. I will work on the decision doc and get that sent out. And Michelle, if you can send me the minutes when you have a chance, I'd appreciate it very much. Thanks, everybody, and be safe. And I'm going to take a motion to close the meeting.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, seconded.
I second it.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
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 All right, thanks, guys. Be safe.
Be safe. Have a good night.
Nice night.